Good evening, good evening, good evening. It is Monday night and it's your Plastic Crack podcast, season 7, episode 9. Yeah, I just read that.
Sorry, I just saw that straight away. I'm sorry, I had to bring that up.
Excellent. That was why I was chuckling to myself when we came live. I saw that comment. Welcome to everybody joining us tonight for a normal, well, it's not quite the normal one because we've got a guest. We've got James here from Midgard fame, James Morris. James, welcome again to this madhouse. You came on once, I think we were just reckoning about a year ago or just over a year ago, and you've come back.
Yes, again, not against my better judgment.
Probably very wise. I mean, we've all been trying to escape for years, and we won't let anyone go.
I think the guests are all very Morecambe and wise at times. You know, they come on, they don't want to come back.
Very, very true indeed. So tonight we are going to talk to James about, I guess, where Midgard has gone, how it's gone down, because I think it was probably one of the most excited launches of 12 months ago, at least 14 months ago, whenever it came out. I think most people got very, very excited. I think the second-hand sales of old goblets and things like that from charity shops went through the roof for no apparent reason. Everyone was wondering in Oxfam shops why they were all being bought up. I know I bought some. And so it'd be interesting to catch up on how Midgard's going, but also talk a little bit more about the future of what might be next. Campaigns I'm hearing might be in the future, that kind of stuff. But also, if you've been to a show, you've probably seen some of the amazing games that James has put on at some various conventions and shows. So sort of maybe touch on some of that as well. So and Raven Dice. I just saw James comment that. Raven Dice is another thing that I think went well. So a reminder, if you're new around here, I'm Dom, boots on the table, but you know that because you're on my channel. We've got Martin, Seventh Son, down there in the corner.
Hello.
And Steve from On Point HQ on the other corner down there, looking. What that? Oh, he's got his elephant mask on. Yeah, good.
Got my things on. It stops you from getting migraines, basically.
Yeah, fair enough. So if you're interested in following us, then click on the old links down below and you'll find all our channels and you can subscribe and do all that YouTube-y stuff. Thanks for everyone watching on the catch-up. We love you as well, so appreciate everyone there as well. A reminder, it also goes up on Spotify. If you don't want to see our ugly mug, you can just listen to us there and listen to our ugly voices. James, welcome back.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me on. It's great to be back, actually, because normally my Monday night painting is just punctuated by listening to you guys. So it's nice to be able to come and chip in for a bit.
You're very welcome indeed. We were trying to work out just before we went on air that it's just over a year ago since you were on before, and I'm a bit flippant there about being one of the hotly anticipated launches, but I think it genuinely was.
It was
very, very exciting. How's the first year or so been?
Yeah, so I came on in November 2024, I think, so a bit over a year ago, just before the book launched during the pre-order, and it's been absolutely great. I mean, it's been a bit of a roller coaster. Some things take way longer than you think they will. Other things just go through the roof really quickly. But, it's done what I needed it to do in the first year. It's sold well. It's been really well received. And, we started building a community, people playing it worldwide. And I always said when it came out, the goal was for people still to be playing it in 5 years' time. So, we're on course for that, I think. I'm not going to make any predictions. But, it's been really popular. And it's consistently selling well, which is fantastic. Really pleased, to be honest. It came out. As you know, Richard Clark at Two Fat Larders Ricewits runs when he's got a book coming out, he runs pre-orders on them, which is kind of necessary to break even because he's a one-man band effectively. Whilst Two Fat Larders are a very established name, it is not a big business. And we broke even 2 weeks before the book came out, I believe. And then it went for a second printing in December because they were disappearing from the shelves very sharpish. So that was a real affirmation, I think, after all those years of working on it. And then won a couple of awards in January last year. Wargames Illustrated, the readers vote for best miniatures rule, and we got best miniatures game for on tabletop, which meant a huge amount to me, actually, because on tabletop is a massive channel. I know you yourselves and Alex are all internet stars, but on tabletop you've got multiple people.
By nights.
So to kind of to get in there as a real indie publisher effectively was really exciting to win that. And then it's just been all go, really, promoting it and doing other stuff for it. I have to say, one of the key things right now is I've not got bored of playing the game, which is absolutely great. So
that was going to be one of my questions, because I think one of the things that you always think, if you and I know when you run before, and you maybe touch on it again, is how long the creation of this system was and how the rules were. It went on for quite some time, and the amount of play testing you did and what have you. So the fact you're still playing it must be testament to something, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I took a short break in January just because none of my friends were available and everyone was ill at various points and whatever. But I've played consistently. I'm just constantly writing and playing testing. But because it's a toolbox to play multiple settings with, then what I need to get on with is write the multiple settings. So that's been a big deal. And we do a project every couple of months where we say, okay, we're going to do this at this show. What rules do we need for this? What and so forth, and it goes from there. So I ran the first Midgard Moot event in April last year at the Fantastic Boards and Swords, sponsors of this very podcast, which is obviously way more local to me than it is to any of you guys.
Yes,
just down the road from my house, and that we had 40 players along for that. That was brilliant. I mean, there's the picture. I mean, not looking dissimilar to Crackcon. Those slightly less people, in fairness, because you rammed them in. Basically, we ran 2 campaigns and 5 different hosted games. So, Lardy Days are one of the events I really, really wanted to work towards. And I thought, well, as a normal Lardy Day, you get a whole mixture of Lardy systems and Rice Express systems. I thought, why not actually run a Midgard Day where you can try out the game in lots of different settings. That was a roaring success. So we're repeating that again this year in April. We've got 1 place left at the moment. But that's fab. And I think down your way, actually, possibly, Dom, a chap called Graham seems to have booked an event called Buckmoot in Beaconsfield.
Oh, okay.
So it looks like there's going to be a Midgard Down South event as well in September. So I'll chub the details.
Are you going to do translations of the rules so that we understand it down there?
Google Translate, mate, and
okay. I'll stick to that.
And then really then the year has just been shows. I mean, I try not to do too many shows because my kids are a bit bigger now. My kids are teenagers, so I can get away a little bit more than I used to. But I do the locals, which obviously we've got Hammerhead and Partisan on the doorstep here. So we did that. We at Partisan, I did the Battle of Mount Baden, according to Bernard Cornwall, which is something I always wanted to do. And then we did Colours as well. We took the Battle of 5 Armies to that one, which was lovely to be able to get down south a bit. And here we are at Hammerhead. No, this is Partisan. Yeah, here we are running the Battle of Mount Baden with about 1,000 figures or so on the table.
Nice.
I've always liked Bernard Cornwall's interpretation, and it was
absolutely.
It was great, and also it means when people rock up to the table, you've got a narrative. You've got we're playing, this interpretation from the book Excalibur. That was just brilliant fun to play through. Did Colours as well with Battle of 5 Armies, big Tolkien game.
Oh, yes.
And I've not been able to make Salute the last couple of years, which is annoying. There we are, hiding behind our giant mountain.
Oh, that's still yes.
I love getting this game out. We've only run it twice, but it's just again, a real thing that I wanted to do from my childhood, I guess. So and it's a fun table. It doesn't actually take up a lot of space in the car. The mountains all fold down and whatever. And what I always love is people really get the Tolkien artwork illusion immediately, which I really love because, I enjoyed the Lord of the Rings Peter Jackson movies, but The Hobbit can do one as far as I'm concerned. So it was nice to kind of put the record straight on that. And so we took that one to colours, and brilliant to get to a show down south because I say I've not been able to make Salute the last couple of years, and I can't make it this year either. So actually getting to colours means I see a lot of people from the southern hemisphere of the UK that I wouldn't otherwise, as it were, which is great to catch up with folk there. And then obviously the highlight of the year though was of course Crackcon,
obviously.
October. There we are. Look at that.
There we are.
Got the official Crackcon board in front of us there. So I came down and read the Trojan Wars. And there are master tacticians Pete and his friend Tony. Tony. I didn't know what Tony's job was when I ran the game. And then, when he'd kept the Greek line perfectly together and completely destroyed the Amazons, he let on. Right.
He's a military man. He knows his stuff.
Pete on the left there is our photographer. Hello, if you're watching, Pete as well. Pete's been a massive part of this. So he came on board to help with playtesting and then said, "Oh, do you want me to take the photos for you?" And Pete's a professional photographer by trade. So you know what? Yes, please. And we have got some stuff out there. Then he's
I kept losing my umpire who kept on going off. He kept on leaving St Albans and going round to Troy to go and see what was going on.
I would have liked to have left Troy to go to St Albans, really, but you've got to run the game.
I think Achilles was needed at St Albans, to be honest, after what they were going through.
Achilles died in both games in our game at Crackcon. It was quite something. The number of ravens rolled on the raven dice, which is impressive. But I could hear the
like that.
There he is. It was a very enjoyable game. He was happy to kill Achilles. There you go.
Fair enough. Yeah. In fairness, though, I think it proves the point that Midgard, whilst it is a hero-based game, the heroes are not all powerful. If you can kill Achilles twice in a day, admittedly, it's the only time it's happened when you've played Trojan War games. Everyone's mortal eventually.
Fantastic.
So it's been a busy one, really.
I suppose actually we've probably jumped ahead of it here, but if anybody here isn't familiar with Midgard, maybe just a little sort of soups on what makes it different and why why people might want to have a look at Midgard as an option as rules.
Oh, I didn't come prepared for this bit today.
Throw it in there if you're really paying attention.
I should read you the blurb off the book because it's probably the best. As it's on the front cover, it's historical, legendary, and fantasy battles in an age of heroic deeds. So it's a battle game that is completely miniatures agnostic. It's not linked to any particular scale or particular line of figures, and it's really about heroic leadership. It's about being a fast-playing, relatively simple battle game that's got enough crunch to make it tactical, where holding a shield wall, having support is all really important, but the game is essentially about leadership from the front. So John Keegan's idea of heroic leadership is very much to the fore there. So it particularly suits, Trojan Wars, early medieval, Dark Ages, medieval stuff. In fact, people charging into battle and doing things they wouldn't necessarily do were sat behind their 21st century desk, I think. The game has a complete, all the points system and everything. There's a complete toolkit in the box, in the book. Sorry, it's only a book for writing your own force lists and so forth. So that's been massively popular. So you can do Lord of the Rings, you can do The Last Kingdom, you can do Hastings, you can pretty much go up to the Wars of the Roses, you can go to the Trojan War. Some people have been playing Samurai with it. It's very, very broad in terms of what you can do, but it's very much a narrative game based on the idea that you have stuff within a particular setting. It's not a tournament game. It's not a competition game, even though, I think it's fairly tightly written. It is about a narrative game, playing a scenario and telling a story. And yeah, I mean, if you really want to look at it, the best thing to do is have a look at Little Wars TV, because they put a review on last week. I mean, that's one of the big, YouTube channels in the US. They did a review last week, which, was, well, it's like when you get your school report and it's a bit too good and you go, oh, thank you, mum and dad. But actually, they go through the game in some detail. So if you watch that,
I think they liked it, was the bottom line.
They did like it. They did like it. Yeah.
Yeah, they really liked it.
I'm very, very chuffed with that. And actually, as a result of that, the membership of the Facebook group has gone up. But sales have gone up. It's not huge, but it's definitely lovely that they really enjoy the game. So really pleased with that.
Actually, this plays into a question I was going to ask you, actually, because Carl's just said he's hoping to use Midgards for Sumerians and also Heroic Age Indian. Is there any kind of periods that almost have surprised you that you've seen? Because I'm on the Facebook page as well, and I see some of the suggestions of things. I think, wow, I hadn't quite thought of that. Are there any that you've kind of gone, wow, that's out there? I wasn't expecting it to go that way.
Ian from Boondock Saints, he was at Hammerhead running a Lord of the Rings game using Midgard, but he's a massive Indian history fan, and he's been running basically Mahabharata games. He's been running games using putting Shiva and Hanuman the monkey god and all these amazing characters from Indian mythology on the table alongside his huge collection of kind of Mughal kingdoms stuff that he's got. I know very little about it, but every time he puts a game on, I'm just like, wow. It is mad stuff, and he's really got the rules. He just runs out there and writes his own lists and adapts one rule for one thing and one for another thing. He really gets what it's all about. So he's been amazing. There is Colin on the Midgard group, who seems determined to refight the entire Bronze Age with 60mm figures, which I absolutely love seeing. They're glorious. And I suspect that'll be me in 20 years' time when my eyesight's gone, or maybe sooner. You see some amazing stuff out there. There's the guys in Poland, I think it's Piotr, but I can't remember all the names, running various Polish, Eastern European medieval stuff. Again, something I know very little about, but clearly it struck a chord. Michael Leck in Sweden. He's been doing kind of Swedish, Norwegian medieval games and whatnot. So people have really embraced the toolbox element of it, that you can go out and do what you want to do with it, really.
We were briefly talking. Go on, Steve.
No, you started to.
No, go for it.
I was going to say, one thing I've noticed from the Facebook group is the amount of people that are saying, has anyone tried this period? Has anyone tried this army? And it just seems to be that people have taken the rules as almost like a spine, and then just added so many different ideas to the armies and the periods and the conflicts. It's brilliant. I think it's great that it's so flexible that you can adapt it to cover so many. Even I started off doing 28mm Vikings, and then once I got the rule book, I transitioned to 10mm fantasy, and it worked just as well. And it's and so that the list building as well. It's intuitive. It's just a system that works so well, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen all kinds of people, different settings going on. It's fantastic to see. How many of these I'll be able to write campaigns for, we will see. But definitely, it's rolling at the moment, which is wonderful. I mean, I started a Mogsy Makes YouTube channel last year, which it's very, very tiny compared to you big boys and Little Wars TV and whatever, but it's allowed me to put out some additional rule support videos and things like that. playthroughs, that kind of stuff, which has been really, really helpful. And the Facebook group is just a couple of hundred people shy of 4,000 members at the moment. So
Wow.
yeah. And what's nice is it's such a positive group. I mean, it's it's not dissimilar to your group in that respect, in that it is polite and it is helpful. And I think it's so essential to create those kind of online safe spaces, because there is so much shit out there on the internet that it is really, really important that we have groups out there that are positive and moderated. And you see some of the flame wars going on trench wars, trench crusade, and stuff. We'll see. But it's very, very positive at the moment, and many people have got the right idea about the game in many cases. So yeah,
you're just playing with toy soldiers, folks. It should be just fun, really, at the end of the day.
Yeah, I always come back to that. I'm quite serious about doing a good job of Midgard and running games and stuff, but it's got to be enjoyable. That has to be the bottom line. Otherwise, what's the point?
Absolutely.
I hear stories about tournaments in the 70s and stuff, and Richard Clark once got into trouble at a Society of Ancients conference for laughing too much while playing a game. This I believe this is late 70s, early 80s, and like they're in a library or something. And that's kind of where we differ, I guess.
Oh, there were some clubs I know I've been to that back in the day where you come in and if you were seen smiling, then that was you weren't taking it seriously enough. And definitely.
I mean, I think that was part of the era, wasn't it, that people were really trying hard to chase simulations and
it was all about simulation rather than
serious mode of historical study. And I think people like Rob Jones, the author of Acorshire, they prove that it can be serious all the time, but it can be fun at the same time. So
awesome. Well, we've been 20 minutes in or so we'll give you a couple of minutes, James. I actually saw a little head go past the back of your wall there a minute ago, maybe chuckle. Somebody was trying to scoop through without being seen.
That was my daughter doing commando crawl. I mean,
is that what it was?
I'm slightly concerned the kids may log in. Keep an eye on the conversation, because if you start getting obscure questions about the hamster weeing on the carpet or something.
That's all right. We've had Ken on here before. They get some very odd things from him.
Yeah. Oh, have you got the picture of Sutton Hoo on there?
Oh, yes.
Let's get that. I just want to talk about that actually really quickly. This is not Midgard. There's Annie Norman, you'll recognise in the centre, who came on our Sutton Hoo trip this year. So every year at the moment, my group takes a delegation down to Sutton Hoo to where I'm describing it really badly. It's a National Trust site where the ship burial was dug up in 1939 with the Sutton Hoo helmet, Sutton Hoo shield and treasure and so forth. And it's a brilliant site. An old gaming friend, Andy Hawes, now works there, and he'd proposed the idea of some wargaming as part of their annual Festival of Archaeology. So we got invited down with a couple of other clubs, and essentially we run the Battle of the River Idle, one of the big 7th century battles, which is what's going on in this picture here. And we use a game called Mead Price, which is on my website. It's a 2-page little brother of Midgard, I think it's fair to say. It's a very, very stripped down set of rules that I wrote to play an early medieval battle in half an hour, basically. And this is just one of the best gaming things I do every single year, really. And it's not Midgard related. Well, it is Midgard related, but it is just brilliant going down and talking to members of the public. And we run games for people of literally all ages. And you often have family members fighting each other and so forth. There's Northumbria and East Anglia, which is often quite entertaining. It's a lovely thing to go. And Annie asked to come this year, so we took her along with us. And obviously she was a massive hit, because she's great at communicating games to the public. And the girl you can see in the picture here, she had actually painted some bad Squiddo figures She's been, I think, the last couple of years, she'd got some bad Squid figures, painted them up, brought them down. So we used them to replace one of the units and one of the heroes in the battle.
Oh, excellent.
And it was just one of those lovely circular moments in Wargaming where you think, right, I wish I'd been that person aged 8 or whatever going to that event. So kind of nice to put something back, I guess, in a way.
Yeah. I believe when you were doing that, we were actually digging in the field behind Sutton Hoo, which is not part of the National Trust site, because someone needed a sewage pipe.
So you couldn't get away to pop in, Martin.
No, I couldn't. The sewage pipe needed monitoring, and we did not find any ship burials or treasure. But I could see everyone standing on the mound, looking at us, which was perplexing.
Well, if you're there next year, or just see if you can get it.
I'll come down. It's only 45 minutes down the road.
Yeah, so, and it's brilliant fun. It really is
absolutely
enjoyable. So that's kind of one of the things I really enjoy doing every year, and it's really lovely wargaming in the open air on a historical site and communicating this stuff.
Now that we've started, Martin.
Jez is there. The sewage Jez. Hello, Jez.
Burial. You've started it all.
Is it time for a break at that point, Tom?
I think it's probably about time we had a couple of minutes to have a serious think about our futures and how we're talking about things. Let's give James a couple of seconds and we can talk through our stuff, what we've all been working on. Well, you can tell us what you've been working on as well, James, when we come back to you. But Steve, you're bound to have been doing some weird stuff. I know you have. I know you've been doing weird shit.
Yes.
I put up a little clip from last week about you were offered to do 2 hours worth of weird shit on your own one week on the Monday night, and it was surprisingly popular. There you go. Just saying that.
I said to John that would be a very, very niche 2 hours for some people. Right, what have we working on? More weird stuff. If anyone saw in the Facebook group the stuff I was posting that I was working on during the weekend, that's been my weekend of just chopping figures to pieces, gluing things that shouldn't be glued together, and sending it to
models, right?
Oh yeah. I'm not talking like an Ed Gein type scenario here. That wouldn't be good. So I've been working on more of this grimdark stuff using this new painting technique. So this is what I've completed in the past 2 weeks, which is fast for me.
Very cool.
I can see a Landsnick head.
Yes, well, it's an Empire head. So
what I've been doing,
So these are all, some are kit bashes, some are just straight out of the kill team boxes. So here we have a Adeptus Mechanicus chap who was utterly painful to paint because he was 3 colors: red, silver, and a bit of flesh. It was painful. The other guys are just a massive kit bash. He's made up of about 4 or 5 different bits and pieces and kits. So he represents some type of inquisitor. So the guy with the Landsnick head is this guy. So he's a rogue trader. I mentioned him last week. So a couple of these I built in 2013, and they've been in bits boxes ever since. I've only just got around to painting them because I think this. Cheers, Jess. Much appreciated. This style I'm doing now, it's more suited to these grimdark kit bashes. So there is bodyguards. So all I've done is combined plastic Empire bits and pieces with plastic Cadians and obviously a Beastman head. Again, they were years ago. It's been a while since I worked on those. What else have we got? And so there is
just says, was not the Inquisitor.
Well, so these are from one of the kill team boxes. We've got a servitor and a it's like a scribe type, half man, half machine, typing out scrolls. To get a better look at him there.
I do like that.
It's
like
a fantastic
toilet roll dispenser, isn't it? Actually, paper towel dispenser in someone's posh kitchen.
In the grim darkness of the far future, there is only Andrex. That was interesting to work on. And then there's the service. I'm just gonna give me 2 seconds. I'm gonna upload a picture that didn't arrive because I want to show you exactly what I've done over the past sort of 2 weeks. Just give me 2 seconds.
Yeah, no worries.
Have you been enjoying the new way you've been painting? Well, I know you have.
Yes,
because you can see it there.
Absolutely.
But are you going to stick to that style for these type of miniatures, or are you going to try and introduce that into your other sort of projects?
I don't know. I'm a bit possibly. I just think it fits. But this is everything since I started this 2 weeks ago. So that's everything I've painted in 2 weeks.
Oh wow. That's a lot
it's
of
not
weird.
my thing, but the colour there is beautiful. So
They are.
I mean, I've completely changed over the past 2 weeks the way I paint. So I'm using a very, very limited palette. I'm using streaking grime, so the AK streaking grime. I'm using an enamel wash, removing it, blast it with a hairdryer, and then doing really, really minimal highlights on it, just give it that sort of saturated look. I think it really works. It's for me. I've always struggled to get grimdark the way I like it. But with these, I've watched so many videos, so many videos.
It's very cool. Very cool.
I'm really enjoying it. So at the moment, more on the desk. I'm actually painting an arcoflagellant tonight.
Wow, of course you are.
Which is cool.
I've got loads of since I was 14.
I've just got bits and pieces. But my desk is unusually untidy because I've got bits and pieces everywhere that I'm working on. And what I've decided to do is use one-page rules, Grimdark Future Firefight, as sort of the basis for playing this, because their rules, their army building. It's so close to what they could get away with. It's unbelievable. You have battle brothers, and you have things that are very close to a certain other company's universe. But it's really easy. It's really easy to take the miniatures you've got and write that. And the Future Firefight one is it's a skirmish game, so it's sort of 8-9 figures per side. So that's what I'm doing. I've been doing it for 2 weeks, and I'm enjoying it. It's really, really good. I'm letting my weirdo creative juices spill out all over the place.
Can we bring the real Steve back? One day. Awesome, mate. It's great to see the enthusiasm, even if I have no idea what you're talking about. What about you, Martin? What have you been up to, mate?
I haven't been flagellating. Well, it's editing.
Have you been doing the talk about things as well?
Yeah. So no, I've been doing a lot of it. Lots of videos have been going out quite quickly recently, and I said I had loads of them sort of banked up, but I have worked on something else. So the video for these is going out tomorrow. So I might as well, I'll show them off here. So I was, very kindly sent the new US Cavalry sprues from Great Escape Games. They've just finished their Kickstarter for the mounted versions of the US Cavalry, and these are all painted up. I've done the video and got the whole thing. I like to have the whole thing. Here's the sprue, here's the thing, but I don't like to spend too long on the sprue because you can see a photo of it on the Kickstarter. But so he sent me a frame over. There's a lot of options. There is a lot of options on there. So these are the 5 guys that I made from the one frame. I decided to not make them 1-for-1 copies of the dismounted ones that I've already done, because you can obviously have a gang that's mixed. So I thought it'd be quite fun to have some mounted and some dismounted. I have some thoughts on the sprue. There are a couple of bits on there that I was a bit sort of like, it's like the guy at the back you have to watch the video. It was fun. I worked on these. These were good. Just good fun. So it's successfully funded this week. It ships in April to backers, and then these will be available in April. I don't know if they're ready for Salute, but they've got a very fast turnaround. But this guy here, this is my all-time. I'm so happy with this guy, his face, his head, and the pose that he's in. This guy here, I was so pleased. I was so happy with how he came out. And then also his face as well. I spent a bit longer on him. So I got to that point we often talk about. It's like, I need to walk away from painting it now because I'm going to ruin it if I do it anymore. So at the point I've done his teeth, I thought I need to walk away. But yeah, I just like the slightly crazy look in his eyes. Although I've just noticed I've got some paint on the saddle, which I'm now going to have to go and deal with. So that's what I've worked on. So I got the whole, those 5 done, and they'll be featuring in a battle report soon. Other than that, I just seem to have quite a lot on the go at once. Some quite cool things coming up channel wise, but they take a little bit more planning. So that's what I've mainly been doing. Oh, and work, but apart from that, that's right.
Work. Who wants work?
Work, exactly.
Awesome.
What about you?
Good stuff. For me, I got back on the saddle, so to speak, with ACW. I don't know why. Even before I had a game this week, but I showed this on the Facebook page. This was the Perry figures that was given out as Salute 2011, I believe.
2011?
2011?
Yeah.
I still feel like that was like only a couple of years ago.
I know, it's scary. Same. And then I was counting because someone said on the comment on the Facebook page, was that one just I found in my stash? It'd been stuck there for all that length of time. And actually, no, it wasn't. But then I was thinking back, probably it was one of the few salutes I haven't been to or didn't go to because I didn't get this figure. Because I think my eldest daughter would have been 11, and then she's 26 now, so that's quite scary. Is how long ago it is. But yeah, it's a lovely figure. Really enjoyed doing it. And he actually took command of my Confederate forces at on Friday night when I had a game of Black Powder, which was great. We had a good old game.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, Paul and I. Friday the 13th. It certainly was Friday the 13th for the poor Union dice roll. Was not great. Whereas the Confederates had a really good Friday the 13th in terms of their dice rolls. So that was my game there, which was great. And actually, it's funny. I just did a video wrap up today of sort of an update on where I've gone with my gaming. And very unusually for me, I've seemed to have gone through a bit of a downer on gaming, which is very odd for me. It's happened a few times in the past over the years, but I haven't really been up for it for some reason. But playing that game and doing some other things I've been doing has definitely got me back on the saddle, which is great because I'm off to a Depticon where I've got about 20 games by looking at the schedule.
I've got 2 words. 2 words for you. The only 2 words that can get you through this slump, mate.
Yeah. What's that?
Space weirdos.
You trying to kill me or what? So I also did some. Looks a bit like you, Martin.
No, he's on about that crazy one.
On this guy.
No, I think he's about the hillbilly-looking one that I painted.
Yeah.
Oh, the hillbilly one. Okay, got you. I also did. This is where I get critiqued by Don on my blues. I also did some Union troops. So when I was, actually this was inspired by the fact that Tomahawks is doing the Muskets and Tomahawks is doing the ACW version. I was looking through what ACW figures I had left over from the mountains of Confederates I've painted over the last year and a half. And I thought, you know what, I could do some individually based figures. So I started to do these. So I did a battalion of Union troops. And then while I was doing it, I thought, wow, it doesn't harm to do a few more Confederates, does it? So I did a regiment of them as well. Because, you know, why not? Why the hell not? So yeah, that was all good fun. I really enjoyed doing them, to be honest. And it was not what I planned to do this last week at all. but that's what it is. But I finally also got to the bottom of my massive Ancients rebasing project. That's finally finished, which is great. So I can now put them all away, feeling happy, and get them out for big games, which is what I want to do. Lots of pikes, elephants, and cavalry, and all sorts of goodness.
Excellent.
Which,
Cool.
yeah. So, yeah, there you go. That's what I've been up to. It's all been good. What about you, James? I mean, you produce an awful lot of beautiful figures. So what have you been working on? Anything particular?
It's been 10 mil this week. Steve's gone off, obviously, and done weird stuff. And it's been 10 mils all the way. Teeny tiny Wolf Riders based up today. I'm working my way through my Wargames Atlantic Dwarves and Orcs boxes, basically. We've got a Midgard campaign we've been testing, which I want to play with 10 mil figures. We've been testing with 28 because we've not had enough. So we've got our first 10 mil games booked this week at the club. So looking forward to getting those out. But they're, really enjoyable to do. And I've been adding Pandraken and Copplestone and other figures to them as well, Calestra figures. So I've got a real mix, as I like, really, as ever.
Variety's the spice of life, isn't it? Yeah. So I'm just looking for comments here. Oh, for goodness sake. Don's now criticising my grey. Is that just my hair colour, mate? Yeah.
A few famous people have joined the chat, Dom.
Have we?
Paul Hicks is in the house, obviously. Good evening. Hello.
Hello, Paul.
Hope you are recovering.
Yeah. I see.
Richard Clark is in the house, apparently.
Good evening, Rich. Good evening.
Just to make sure I don't spill any trade secrets. And hello, Richard. Hope you enjoyed your pint earlier. And Matt Williamson, Blue Willow. It's his birthday today. So happy birthday, Matt.
Happy birthday, Matt.
Thank you for tuning in. He's late because of his birthday dinner, which, given that he lives in France, this is not late after a French dinner, I don't think. So well done, mate.
Yeah. Well, I think that's an acceptable excuse. We'll allow that. That's all good.
Yes.
Does he have a note? Does he have?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, he hasn't sent it in. I want a doctor's note signed and triplicate, and all that kind of malarkey. Right. Let's get on to the new news that's coming, James, in terms of Midgard and campaign systems. This is where Rich will get very excited about what you're about to spill. So, what's planned? What's happening?
Okay, I'll start with kind of the current. This is not new news, but hopefully going to be available for pre-order this week. We have Chronicles of Midgard, and I think you've actually got the slide there as well, probably the picture. So this is it's a supplement for Midgard Heroic Battles. It's generic, so you can play any setting with it, and essentially it's a campaign system and 15 new scenarios. So
nice.
It's quite a big expansion because there were only 5 scenarios in the original book. So John Hodgson of Handiwork Games has worked on it again, and it is gorgeous. He's just produced something that completely feels Midgard. He instinctively gets the look, and he's so good at putting all this together. We've got photos again by Pete Jenkins, and a whole variety of things going on in there, really. So there's some of the Wars of the Roses stuff in it.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah, there's
so Chronicles of Midgard. Oh yeah, there's campaign map. The generic campaign system that's in the book can be run using a stylized map like this one, or it can be run in a linear format. So there's 2 options. And you've seen I've done an awful lot of Viking stuff recently because the sample campaign is from Athelney to Effendune. So it's based on Alfred the Great from when he had to flee his hall at Chippenham when the Danes invaded over Christmas, New Year, and then fled to the Fens in Athelney, and then rose, put his army together, came back and beat the Danes at Eddington, and then essentially forced Guthrum to split Britain. Essentially, it's very much the official origins of the Danelaw, I guess, in that was the point where Guthrum was Christianized, and him and Elfra were kings in their own right. It's a really, really interesting campaign, and I wanted to game it for a long time. So this sample campaign is included in the books. This is specifically Viking and Saxon, although to be honest, you could probably swap the Vikings for orcs and nobody would worry too much, I don't think. But it's been a real pleasure to work on this, and we're running an Alfred the Great campaign at the Midgard Moot event in April, which I'm very excited about doing. That part of the event is sold out. It's sold out in about 4 hours or something silly, but everybody will be able to get their hands on this when the book comes out. And there's 15 new scenarios in the book as well, so all kinds of different situations. There are ambushes, there's a couple of attacks on fortresses, all that kind of thing, baggage, that kind of stuff. It's still a battle game. We're not into the pillage level of skirmish stuff, but there are some. There's a land waster scenario we were running at Hammerhead, which is partially fought within a village, that kind of thing. So it just kind of expands the potential battlefield situations in Midgard out a bit further. But like I said, all 15 of the new scenarios are generic, and then essentially the campaign system links them together in a narrative. And we were talking a bit before the stream came on, weren't we, about kind of, I know you've done a show on campaigns in the past, and you know, I guess in the Midgard campaign system's been ongoing for about 4 years, actually. Pete Jenkins and I started playing a campaign in the summer of 2022, and you know, it was always planned to have a campaign system in there, but it wasn't going to fit into the main book, and indeed wasn't fully ready at that point. But I wanted a campaign system that I could play fairly easily without too much paperwork, but that told a story. I have memories of playing Warhammer Siege as a teenager. Do you remember the Orange Warhammer Siege book? There was a really interesting book. It must have been around about Warhammer 3rd edition, I reckon, where they produced a book that had rules for sieges in Warhammer Fantasy Battles in the old world and for Warhammer 40k. And I remember playing a few games with that, and there was lots of great ideas in it, but for us as a bunch of teenagers, it was bits of it were a bit over complex, and some bits were too simple. It didn't really create a narrative. We got some quite unbalanced games out of it. So with the Midgard campaign, I wanted to have a short, sharp campaign system that would allow you to play through a few weeks of conflict in quite a tight geographical area, really.
Because that's always the trouble with campaigns, isn't it? It's sort of making it involved enough that it's a challenge more than just linking battles in a sense, but not making it so complicated and difficult. There's a huge amount of bookkeeping and preparation and everything that has to constantly go in with it. There's, it's getting that balance just right. I mean, how did you approach that?
Well, I remember fondly a campaign we played years ago at my club, where everyone set out to collect Italian wars forces. We're going to play with DBR, and the campaign was such that, I mean, it was a pretty good simulation of, Italian backstabbing in that period, I think it's fair to say, and that you ended up with so many counters in one place on the map that you were going to have to fight a battle at 5-1 odds. And essentially, the campaign was such that it virtually discouraged fighting battles. And ultimately, Midgard is a battle game. It needs to be able to generate battles. So that's very much what it's about. The campaign, essentially, you have two hosts, as I'm calling them, the two sides, which can have any number of players on. But essentially, you've got two hosts who move two army counters on a map in the map-based version. When the counters end up in the same space, you generate a scenario. So a clash takes place using one of the scenarios in the book or from the original book, and then that is fought out. And then as a result of that, you discover whether any heroes have been struck down and miraculously survived, where the fleeing army goes to, and then what the victorious army decides to do. Do they decide to plunder the area and take provisions, which will make their army bigger and stronger for the next encounter, or do they follow up straight away, thereby pushing the enemy further back into their own territory, but possibly giving up the advantage of being able to plunder the land in the meantime. And it's quite it's a simple system. I don't want anyone to buy it and go, oh my God, it's not Risk with Midgard. It is not that. It is not a multi-continent battle. It is a short, sharp campaign in a tight geographical area. So the Athelney to Ethandune campaign map you showed essentially runs from Chippenham down to Alfred's base in Athelney. So it's about, as the crow flies, it's about 45 miles between those two locations.
Yeah.
I'm afraid that's not the full map. That goes to halfway where the borderlands are. You can see where Wells is. But essentially it's quite a tight area, and your campaign will probably last between 4 to 8 games. And essentially at the end of each battle, you can generate the next stage while you're still at the club. That doesn't take very long. There's very little bookkeeping, excuse me, and then go away and come back and play the next battle a week later.
Yeah. That's good, because as I say, I think one of the things I've found with campaigns over the year is everyone starts with huge amounts of enthusiasm, and they all rush off and get their armies organised, and they build characters and backstories and everything else, and then they get whipped a couple of times in battles, and suddenly their orders come a little bit slower coming in, and suddenly they're not available the next week when there's a battle on, and the whole thing just crumbles to dust. So keeping it short and sharp, and
I've got
always
a big advantage. I've got a big advantage of Midgard there, I think, because Midgard is about heroic leadership. When I think about these campaigns, I'm always thinking about Celts in Mythic Island, raiding each other, Cahul the Red Branch and whatever, going over to Connacht to burn down someone's house and steal a cow. That's kind of the scale of it in my head. It goes a bit bigger than that, definitely, but it provides you with a simple, easy to run, short campaign. And what we keep track of in the game are the heroes rather than the exact forces. So there are some limits on units and whatever within the particular game. So you can't just field an army full of skirmishers or knights or whatever. But we have a court of heroes. I don't think I've sent you that picture, but basically you have a little feudal pyramid, which John has drawn beautifully, where you have a group of heroes. Essentially, you have a lord, then you have their princes or princesses and whatever, and then you have the barons and knights down the bottom, and you track the fortunes of these 9 characters as you go through the battles. We have a new factor in the game called Renown, where the characters can earn they earn reputation in the game for leading charges, fighting single combat. That becomes Renown, which is a kind of experience point system where they can collect that. And then after the battle is finished, if they survive, they can then spend some of that on advancing their character. So it's got that heroic theme that links Midgard forever. And you can get some brilliant stories. And the first campaign I played was Harold Godwinson in Wales. And we had a Huscarl called Little Tostig who rose up through the ranks, and it's become a level 3 hero in the end before he was killed in the final battle. But it was a great story. So but it's all fairly low bookkeeping in that respect, because you don't need
the way you play your heroes, because Midgard is such a hero-led thing. It's important you get stuck in with them, right? That's the whole thing about the game. There's the campaign.
I'm the wrong person to ask. I'm totally the wrong person to ask on this, because I always charge and get in there and often die heroically, generally. So just does it change? Martin. If a hero is destroyed in a battle, so if they lose their final stamina point, there is a chance they may survive the battle, and that is higher if you've won the battle. The theory being that you've got possession of the battlefield, so no one's going to finish you off if they find you lying in a ditch, with a spear stuck through your leg. So does it change where play heroes? Not really. With 9 heroes in your court, you can still, very much throw stuff in there. No, in some ways, it makes you want to throw charges in, because if you want to collect renown, because renown lets the heroes do all kinds of different things. If you want to collect renown, collect the experience points, you need to be doing the heroic stuff. So actually it may encourage, people to really go for it in that respect. But yeah,
so you got a risk reward.
Yeah, very much so. With the emphasis on the risk, I think.
Yeah.
Anyway,
there was a question here from Tony. Can mighty deeds be spent to generate campaign effects, perhaps at the cost of starting the next battle with fewer deeds available?
No. Mighty deeds are what your hero has on the battlefield on the day. That's not part of that system. It doesn't mean there won't be different systems within individual campaigns, but no, that's not in the generic system. To be honest, the system, though, is pretty easy to adapt if you feel that's something you really want to do. But, mighty deeds are about, your hero in action on the day of the battle. That's what they're there for. We had a bit of a unfortunate moment today. So Richard at Two Fat Larders had it all lined up to go on pre-order today. Unfortunately, over the weekend, the server that hosts Richard's website had a few problems, and the website, the company said they had to run a number of health checks this morning. So unfortunately, they vetoed it going live today, which is really frustrating because I know that Richard had been working over the weekend to make sure that Europe and the US and Australia were all set up to be able to put this pre-order live at the same time. But yeah, we're basically watching the news for that one. But hopefully we'll have some news later on this week about that.
But sooner rather than later, it's expected, or as soon as the
very much so. I've got a question from Red Steph. Will they be available at Salute? Yes, is the straight answer. Obviously, Richard is in charge of what goes out and what sells, but yeah, there is every intention to have it available at Salute. But apart from that, we're just waiting for the pre-order to go live, basically.
Awesome. I think that's really cool. Yeah, I think it's. So I'm intrigued by. I know you can't give us too much detail on this. At the end of the day, people could buy the rules and have a look at them. But how you're going to change over the different, kind of. I guess how you've talked about having the sort of stable of 9 characters or whatever, or lords or characters or heroes or whatever you're going to call them.
It's called a court in the game.
Court. Sorry, that was what I was trying to. So how do they? How do you assign them to an army to begin with, or can they sort of fluctuate around in a way and go where
they can fluctuate around? The army counter, as I say, it's a short, sharp campaign in a small geographical area. The army counter moving around the board essentially represents the force more or less as it's spread out, and then when a scenario occurs, you generate a particular force to go and fight in that battle. So you'll pick your heroes from there. The other new addition is muster rolls, which are effectively army lists. So they're, rather than a sample force as we have in the Midgard book, here's a 300-point force, here's a 400-point force, there is a muster roll. So there is a selection of things that you can pick from. I hesitate to use the words army lists because of the historical connotations, but you know what I mean. Essentially, though, it's there to give you a thematic game and to make sure somebody doesn't min-max it with something that is entirely implausible within your genre or your setting or whatever. So essentially, the campaign strings together the scenarios to create a narrative with continuity between.
Around it, nice. Excellent, very exciting. I'll watch this space for when the IT gremlins are sorted out and the pre-orders can go in, but otherwise Salute seems to be the best. Well, it's only a few weeks away from Salute as well, isn't it? So crikey.
It is.
If you know you want it, we'd very much like you to pre-order. We're really sorry it's not available to pre-order today. That was very much the intent, but pre-ordering, there are bundle deals and so forth, but there are better deals you can get, but also it helps us to fund the book before release, essentially. So if people like to see more Midgard material, putting in a pre-order when it becomes available, even if you collect it to Salute, is by far the best way to do that from mine and Richard's point of view. But yeah, do you want to talk about goblet-sized campaigns?
Should we?
Yeah, I was going to say when it does become. So I was just going to say when it does become available. Obviously, James is in the PCP group, so James, if you can post the links up so everyone in here can see.
Believe me, I will. Don't worry.
We don't
mind
everywhere. So go for it. So if people, so the moment it goes live, people can jump on that. Then I think they.
Yeah, sure. I mean, normally the Two Fat Larders pre-orders. Yeah, normally Two Fat Larders pre-orders last about 3 weeks, so it won't be 48 hours or whatever. But yeah, watch this space basically. But I will post it.
Brad asking if you pre-order, can it be in our hand? Can it be in our hands in the UK or on the day of Salute? Will it be in our hands?
That I'd have to defer to Richard on that one, because I'm not dispatching any of this. But the intent, I mean, you probably remember with Midgard, some of the books were arriving, on the day or just before. So, yeah, when the pre-order goes live, there will be a date at which the pre-order ends. And very often, Richard gets things out just before that. So, he's hoping to get the boxes out to the US and Australian and European distributors so they can deal with those. Yes, I can answer that one. Yes, Martin, it will be available through Coransoray. It will, yeah.
Excellent.
James says, "Can I put in pick up from your car boot at Bash order, please?"
Yes.
He was saying earlier that you were driving around with copies in the back of your car for ages, so I think that was his reference to that.
Yeah, it's fine, James. £100 in used notes in a brown envelope, and it's yours.
Fair enough.
But
Cool.
No,
I think it's awesome. I think it sounds a really interesting system. And, we'll watch with interest for when the pre-order goes up. And I take your point. Yeah, the sooner we, the better for everybody is to do that and to support the Lardies and make sure that continue to produce lovely projects like this. It's the easiest.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's the book is beautiful. I was so pleased when it came through because it's such a nice companion to the original, and having John Hodgson doing the art and design, is fabulous, and we want to be able to keep that kind of standard up. So but that's that.
Awesome. Shall we do a little bit of news? Not that there is a huge amount of news, and then we'll come back and talk about your bit of news, James, as well on the other project.
Sure.
That makes sense.
I have no news, so I will leave it to you. I have nothing.
It's only my excuse to play this little snippet of video that makes Martin laugh so much. I'm going to do it anyway.
Now for the news. But think, can you really afford this? Especially the weird shit.
There you go. Makes him laugh every time. It's brilliant.
He's swiftly becoming my favourite historical personality.
I guess it is the time of the year when all the big shows are coming that it's not. There isn't a huge amount of news right now, but a couple of things I saw. So, Hellion, some more amazing books coming out. Very niche, but some really good ones. And other ones have been. I mean, I've had to be really restrained, which everyone knows is very unlike me. The number of times I've really bought various books on such a. I think. And I was trying to convince myself why I need a book on the Italian army in the Alps in 1940. I don't know why, but it just fascinates me. I always love these very slightly obscure fronts and battle formations and what have you. So I think it's just amazing. But some amazing stuff there. So check out all the stuff that Hellion have got. Again, some great companion stuff if you want background history to your gaming and some settings for your battles. Some brilliant books coming out from them. And talking about the Italians, Bolt Action have the Armies of Italy book out, or on pre-order anyway, with the special figure. Again, it's all part of their updating of Bolt Action with the latest version and updating all the companions and different army books for that. They have also got some figures, but we won't look at those because we won't look at the Italian figures because they're not particularly brilliant. But there's a whole raft of new Italian figures out there if you are interested and want to go along to the Warlord website for those things. I think that's it. I don't think we had anything else. That is all.
Yeah, no, Lynn and James had pointed out, I did see this, that Yarrick, Commissar Yarrick has a new model for 140,000, so he's not dead. Apparently, Dual Foot on Rock would be awesome for his Grim Dark project. Yes, I did see that. I liked the little trailer thing. That was quite fun to watch. But yes, that's on the way. So I'm assuming there'll be some kind of announcement about their new edition on the way soon, which is I think in the group. Robin and Matt were saying it's probably going to be set on Armageddon. So, that'll be interesting. So, although I swear it doesn't feel that long since the last edition, but that might just be me.
It's every 3 years they change edition, every 3 or 4 years.
Pretty much.
Yeah. This will be 11th.
I just think that's me feeling old.
This will be 11th, won't it? 11th edition. Bloody hell.
There you go. But yeah, that's all. That's it. That's all I've got. Oh, apart from when do the tickets go on sale, Dom? After you're back from
Easter,
transatlantic voyage.
Easter time. We'll put up the tickets for Crackcon, October 17th. So put that in your calendars. We are the wonderful Boards and Swords who sponsor this stream. A reminder, if you use your PCP5, you get an additional 5% off their prices, which are already pretty much discounted, so that's all good. But yeah, we're trying to organise all the games that are going to be put on at Crackcon. So if you are interested in putting a game on, I know James has already mentioned he might be doing that as well.
I'll be there, I think. I just need to swing it with my wife because it's the week after Partisan, which means 2 days out, kind of 2 weekends out on a row. But it's local. You guys come far further, so I should come along. If you've got, I don't know what to run this year, I have to say. Chuck me an idea in the chat if you've got something you'd like us to do. I mean, we're working on a Second Baron's War project at the moment, which would be fun to do. And I think would be enjoyable. But I don't know. Yeah. Cool. Can I mention Lucid Eye sale this week? Lucid Eye, if you sign up, Lucid Eye make fantastic figures. I've got loads of them, but they are at the pricey end of the market. But they run a 50% sale every week from Friday to Friday. If you sign up to their email mailing list, you get this link every week. This week, they've got the Ziggurat characters, which is their kind of ancient biblical range on half price. So there's a fantastic Goliath figure. I think
he's
amazing. Goliath Nephilim. There's the brave Ulysses figure, who stands in for Menelaus in my Trojan Wars games and stuff. There's some fab figures on there, and they're half price this week. So if you're one of those people who likes to doesn't want to spend all the money,
there you go.
Oh wow!
Yeah, them.
Oh, nice.
All
I have
kinds of stuff.
that figure, and it is bloody enormous. It's fantastic.
It is, isn't it?
It is absolutely enormous. Yeah,
I've always fancied their Athena figure. But
that's cool. I certainly echo your comments there. It's well worth signing up for it because the figures are, as you can see, pricey, but once they're half price, they're actually okay. But they are fantastic figures, really, really nice. So well worth checking out from time to time. And they do some nice hoplites and all sorts of other things as well. Some good Romans as well. So
there are. Really
not when I would buy any Romans, obviously, because that would be wrong.
Yes, why would you do that, Dom?
Exactly. It looks like Richard said we are running a Salute pickup order service. So there you go. So, and you can get the books at Salute. And if you order the PDF as part of the bundle, you'll get them on the official release day. There we go. From the horse's mouth.
If you pre-order for Salute as well, you will avoid giving Rich a hernia getting all the stuff to the post office. So, a public health announcement, please do that if you're going to Salute.
Knowing how evil most wargamers are, you've probably just doomed all the pre-orders, so they're all going to be sent now just to make sure he does have to carry them down to the.
Yeah.
Brilliant. So we were saying on Crackcon, if anybody's interested in putting our game, just ping us a line, either in the Facebook page, links down in the description down below. If you're not a member already, come along and join the community there.
We've got a good variety at the minute.
Yeah.
We've got I think there's because of all the game spaces we have, I think we've got 8 that are confirmed or more or less confirmed. So, and then which cover everything from ancients, fantasy, sci-fi, historics, from just remembering. So yeah, we've got a good bunch. Plus we've got a few demos going on for some games as well. So which is always good. So yeah, it looks like it might actually be our most diverse in terms of spread of material. So yeah, essentially, James, whatever you really feel like, even we'll get the chat to us. But if there's something you want to put on, I don't think there's going to be something that's not going to fit in. I think we've got a nice spread. Robin and I have we're mid planning. We've also roped a couple of extra people in with planning because we need help.
Paul and I at the club
were generally
discussing doing some kind of the game, and I said, don't be stupid. So we stopped that idea. But there you go. Actually, there was a question earlier for you, Martin, for James, but also for Martin, was whether or not there's any burning involved in the campaign. Because Robin and Martin just have this penchant for burning everything down. So I hope there's lots of burning in there, because otherwise they won't buy the book.
I've seen films, they use fire.
No, it's not in the index, sorry. So,
there we go. It's fine. There'll be a house rule. There'll be a house rule. It's fine. There'll be fire. There'll be some fire.
I don't imagine a fire phase into the.
Yeah, I was trying to think. I think that the thing is, the next game I'm going to have boiling oil. So there's going to be some. I've got rules I put up in our last battle report. I said to people in the comments. Can I suggest some rules for the privy? And people have been very, giving with their emails and comments for rules for the privy. I quite like the one that came through today. I think it was Matt Williams, who said maybe the peasants aren't affected by whatever the privy rule is because they're so used to the smell and so used to it. So the peasants can go near the privy. And the knights and the lords, if they go over there, suffer a penalty, which I really like. I think that's brilliant. I think that's it. And you can send one guy up to climb up the chute to come out. I think that would be ace. But yes, I think that's an excellent it's an idea. Fire. Oh, yes. So you mentioned the goblet games, James.
Yeah, I'm just actually going to answer a couple of questions from the chat. Andrew Lawson has asked, any chance of a video series playing the Midgard campaign with Richard? Well, yes, we've already recorded it, basically. We recorded this a couple of weeks ago, so Richard has again been editing this over the weekend. So it's not a full playthrough of a campaign, but it's basically a playthrough of a campaign turn, including a speeded through game, essentially, so you can see how all the bits work. So, yeah, that's already been recorded. I'm planning to do some game videos in the near future, but need to get that sorted out, but focusing in on particular scenarios or parts of a campaign, or whatever. Yeah. Good. James Shakers and Spruce has asked me, do I want to do Midgard Quar at Crackcon?
I saw you shaking your head, so I think I know the answer to this one. Yeah, go on then.
James, your copy of Chronicles out my card bit is now 120 quid, okay? To be honest, Quar are everywhere. Let's do something that's not everywhere. And Quar are kind of peaceable folk, aren't they? They're quite quiet. They're...
I don't know. I've seen the big guns they've got. I'm not sure they're peaceable. But anyway.
Are they not being oppressed, though? I don't know enough about the background. I always get the impression they are the little guys being forced into battle by the warmongering capitalists. But yeah, here we go. Anyway, right, goblets. Yeah,
maybe, James. I think that's what I'm going to say. Anyway, carry on with the goblets.
Goblet-sized campaigns. So yeah, Chain of Command has pint-sized campaigns. So one reason I went with Richard as a publisher when we agreed to publish Midgard all those years ago was that because of Richard's proliferation in making PDFs as well as books, because I'm very aware if you want people to play your game, especially across the world, you need to have material available on PDF. Chain of Command's got its pint-sized campaigns. Midgard's going to have goblet-sized campaigns. The first one's been fully written and play tested and is in layout at the moment, and there's more following. So essentially, whilst Chronicles of Midgard contains everything you need to make up your own campaign using the scenarios in the book, and there's a blank map and court diagram and stuff in there, the Chronicles of Midgard campaigns focus in on a particular campaign within a particular setting. So the first one I've written is called The Iron Valley, which is it's a generic orc and dwarf fantasy setting with 5 new scenarios in it. And then you can play the campaign either as a linear campaign or you can play it as the map-based campaign. So you can do either version, essentially using the rules from Chronicles of Midgard. And this is one thing I've been painting the 10mm figures for. And you might have a picture of some of my orcs there, actually, that I've been working on for this. When you say too much, but yeah, there we go. Right, that's Crack Bittercleaver, the leader of the Bittercleaver clan, who's part and parcel of this hideous coalition of orcs that get oppressed by the dwarves in the campaign. So there's a complete backstory to it, different characters and so forth. So it's essentially ready to run. And I've written quite extensive dwarf and goblin army lists for it, muster rolls. So there's quite a few options in there depending on what figures you already have or what you fancy collecting. And I've been working on those banners for it as well. So there's that one, and I think there's a picture of the 10mm stuff there as well. And we've got these various pictures that are being used to illustrate the campaign. Yep, that's the dwarf army with their giant Riesiger man, huge man, with some of the banners of the leaders there. So these are the 10mm Wargames Atlantic figures. And one thing I'm been working on today is I'm also doing off my own back as a Mogsy Makes project, not as a Ricewitz Press project, is doing a project guide for making and painting 10mm figures for the campaign, 10mm figures and scenery from scratch. So essentially building a 3x4 tabletop with all the scenery you see in the picture I've done there, and along with the figures. So just a trial thing, really. I've done a lot of magazine articles like that in the past, but there's never really the space to show the whole project from start to finish with broken down details if people want that. But as a PDF, that's a very achievable goal. So something to try out. Right, Jez has asked, are they Oathmark orcs? I think Jez means the previous picture.
The previous
There's a whole mixture of stuff in there. Yeah, that's a real mixture. We have got, in that picture, we've got some of the Knucklebones, 3D printed orcs. We've got Gripping Beast Arab bodies. We've got heads from Oathmark and Wargames Atlantic. There's a Frostgrave Barbarian or two in there. It's a mashup, which is what I love to do, frankly. So, yeah, real mixture.
Yeah, I see Steve's nodding approval there as he heard the word mashup.
Yeah,
it's not quite as mad as what he's been working on this week, but I absolutely love making orcs. So we got anyway, going back to Midgard, we got the Iron Valley campaign. So I mean, the draft version of the campaign is about 30 pages long, so it's quite a chunky item. That will hopefully be available fairly soon after the release of the book, depending on layout and other factors. So I'm not going to give any date at the moment. Then the next campaign I'm also working on at the moment is a Second Baron's War campaign to cover the campaigns leading up to the Battle of Lewis in 1264 and then Evesham in 1265. Yeah, there we go. There is Lord Edwards taking on Nicholas Seagrave in our Battle of Lewis playtest. This has been exceptionally good fun to do. My mate Scribs, you may be familiar with, has in the last, I don't know, it's less than a year. It's probably 8 months or something. It's painted 500 of the Wargaming's Atlantic Barons War Plastics, and has gone absolutely bonkers with it. So we're basically on full battle mode for this. I've always been interested in this, but what really kicked me recently was reading the Ian Ross novels. Ian Ross wrote a series of Roman books. Then he wrote a series of 3 books basically running from 1264 to 1266 in the Second Barons' War. They are absolutely brilliant. And so that's provided the fodder for lots of the scenarios and so forth going in here. And that's been a terrific, good fun writing lists for that. And again, every time you write lists of this, you know, Midgard's very much a toolbox, but every time you do this, you go, right, do we need a new trait for this? Is there a way we can do this, whatever's in the rules? Can we tweak this? Can we change the balances? And I think, you know, you'll see with the muster rolls that we've got in these campaigns, the breadth you can take it to get a game that feels, I say, historical or in genre for a fancy setting, but you know, feels like it's its own game basically. Excellent, Paul. Good stuff. Paul. Yeah, we need Second Baron Wars characters, Mr. Hicks.
Well, he can do 2 versions of Simon de Montfort. He can do the one where he's on his horse, and then the one where he needs assembling because he's in so many pieces. We can just
plastic. You don't need a master sculptor to sculpt that. But I absolutely love reading the Ian Ross books. To be honest, we have Harry Sidebottom and stuff in the author's corner at Partisan. I'd love to see Ian Ross there one year. But we're building up to we're planning to run the Battle of Lewis at the Partisan show in May this year. So even if the campaign's not out, then you'll be able to see lots of the workings of stuff going on there. And essentially I've got lots of campaigns in different bits and pieces at the moment. We're doing some Jason and the Argonaut stuff. That's been running for absolutely years, since Midgard started play testing. Quite a lot of Wars of the Roses games. Hastings is very high on the agenda at the moment. There's Arthurian stuff I've written, which I probably need to pull out. El Cid definitely needs a revisit at some point. There's so much potential out there, but I'm kind of hoping that once the first campaign is out there, that people who are into Midgard and interested in particular periods might step up to write or assist in some of the campaigns. Anyway, here's the banner for Hastings 960. So yeah, talking of Hastings, do you know Peter's Paperboys?
Yes.
Yeah.
So you've got Peter Dennis, the illustrator, who he obviously has illustrated the cover of Bolt Action, the game and the books. Dozens of Osprey books, if not hundreds possibly. Peter has this project called Peter's Paperboys, where he makes toy soldiers out of paper. He produces them, you buy them from his website as PDFs, you print them out, and you can make an army in a few days. There's a bit of cutting out involved, but they look insane. And this is the big project for this year. Now, I hasten to add, this is not my doing. Mirko Brunner, who is the who does the website work for Peter, basically came up with this concept that 960 years after the Battle of Hastings, we should refight the Battle of Hastings on a 1-to-1 one man is one figure ratio.
Right.
Yeah, Mirko is old enough to know better. It's the kind of thing you go when you're 15. Yeah, wouldn't it be cool if? But he's cracked it basically, because what he's doing is people are signed up to produce the units for this game. Each unit is round about 200 figures, give or take. So the unit you just saw there is one of the ones somebody has prepared for the game. And there are people out there who've signed up to the project who are producing roughly 60 units of that nature to put onto the table in October this year at the other Partisan show. So it's going to be quite a spectacle. And I ran a game of Midgard for Peter and the Paperboys last year, which they thoroughly enjoyed, and they've asked me if I'd like to run the game for them. So obviously I've said yes. It's going to be a weird one as well, because I won't have to paint a single figure, which is going to be quite a treat, actually, I think. But it looks like an amazing project. And Midgard will work really well for this. I'm very confident because although, you can play Midgard with 10 to 12 units aside, actually, some of the games we run at shows do have 30 units aside, and we can complete them easily in a day because of the simplicity of the core rules. So, it's a very, very exciting project, really. I'm delighted to be involved in it, and I know there's going to be T-shirts and all kinds of merchandise coming. And Pete Dennis is currently building the Senlac Hill out of cardboard. Their dedication to paper and cardboard is massively impressive.
It's going the whole hog.
But actually, I mean, in a way, in many ways, you look at this and we all love our, plastic and pewter and whatever, but the paperboy stuff, you just print it out. It's pretty easy to store because it's light, and some people fold their armies flat and whatever. It doesn't damage in transit, and it's incredibly eco-friendly compared to the plastic stuff that we do. There's no shipping or whatever involved. You get onto his website, you buy it, you download it, and then you print off the pages you want. So I see it as I'd always known about Peter's Paperboys, but there was a really good article in Miniature Wargames magazine a couple of years ago, and I looked at that. Oh, that's what I need to have a crack at next. So I've got a few armies which I've done with Peter's Paperboys. I think one thing that's always surprised us is we use them a bit in club games, and sometimes we play games where you've got 3D metal figures fighting paper figures, and you don't really notice. If it's stuck on a good base, it's absolutely fine. Yes, if you get around the flank, they're a bit thin from the side view, but generally when you play a game, you're sat across the table, playing laterally, aren't you? And they're astonishing. And I think for being on the Paperboys group and stuff, I know I love painting and converting stuff, but for some people who don't love that, this lets you get figures on the table very, very quickly, because even if you're an experienced gamer, if you say, right, I'm going to get a force of 100 figures onto the table for a new project, it's probably not, it's going to take a few months. So I think they're brilliant. And I'd like to find out a way to include them in our work at Sutton Hoo, actually, because, again, given that we're introducing many people to wargaming there and stuff, it would seem like a really good fit.
It would be a really good thing to dish out.
Yeah, I digress anyway, but they are, they're really clever, and Peter has got such a huge swathe of history and fantasy actually covered on his website. He does have orcs and stuff like that, so there's all kinds of goodness on there. But that's been a really interesting diversion over the last year or so, and taking that game to Partisan in October should be absolutely brilliant. Event-wise, so we've got the Midgard Moot thing coming up as well in April. It's all go, really. I need to go to Colours as well in September, but that'll be a Midgard game, but I haven't decided what yet. Sometimes I have plans, but other time, I used to work on 20 years ago, I worked on just one project at a time, and I was just totally blinkered working on that, and I was really productive. And nowadays I'm working on too many things, and it's kind of fun. But,
it's the best way. Have you got any plans coming up, sort of project wise, just for you, that you would like to do? Because I think we always have these little projects in the back of our head, and I know you have obviously stuff, and you'll be thinking about Midgard, and obviously you've got, you see if you've got like Second Barons War and Lewis and De Montfort, and then you've got but if you've got anything in there, you're like, I want to do that you can.
A couple of things.
What would James like to do?
In January, I was posting a fair bit of my Clinkit project. I should have sent you a picture, actually, but Eureka Miniatures just announced some new figures for it this week. So this is an obscure project with. Do you want me to send you a picture over, or can you let me look at Eureka?
Yeah, if you. I might be able to get. I'll get one up from Eureka now while you explain.
Yeah.
I'll get
or it's on my website, actually. But Eureka have got it on their front page. The Clinkit, this is a bizarre project for me, really, but the Clinkit are a tribe that lives in Southeast Alaska, a Native American tribe, and the Russians colonized Alaska in the mid to late 1700s and early 1800s, obviously before they famously sold it to the US in 1867. And there were some conflicts between the Tlingit and the Russian fur traders that had arrived. And they're absolutely fascinating, particularly because the Tlingit wore carved wooden armor into battle. So they had big collars and wooden helmets carved out of cedar wood in the form of killer whales or bears or ravens or whatever. So it's one of these classic periods for me, because you've got this, well, they say modern culture, but the thing is, it isn't Russian soldiers over there in the 1750s, in the 1800s. There were no soldiers in Alaska. It was all Russian fur traders operating at the end of a very, very long supply chain, largely with locals employed to help them collect the furs. So the conflicts are pretty even in many ways. Although the Russians have got the guns, they haven't. They haven't got, the numerical. They haven't got full technological superiority over the locals, and because you've got these figures with painted armor and carved stuff and whatever, it's such
I've just got a couple here,
and you don't need a lot of figures for it.
Hang on 1 second. I'll pop some up. I did actually see these on tabletop. I think it was a few days ago actually that they.
That's right. I was painting these over Christmas, but I had to keep a lid on it because Eureka Miniatures didn't have them ready for release, but they let me buy a set before release.
Got a couple here, just so people can sort of. So here are some of them, some of the sets. I mean, they are awesome.
They're just amazing. So these are the Tlingit warriors. They're just so much fun. I mean, you can go to the museums in the Northwest Pacific Coast and stuff and see this stuff. I saw quite a lot last time I visited Canada, and they're just fascinating. There's quite a lot being written about them as well, and because the tribe didn't suffer the same level of destruction that the Native Americans, the Plains Indians did in the 19th century, then actually quite a lot of tribal culture has been maintained. They still suffered a certain amount of repression and so forth, but the cultural links are still strong because that area has always been quite sparsely populated. It's not an area you want to take over for farming or whatever. There are a lot of Tlingits still there. This is a chief armed with his knife. You can see he's got his knife sheath around his neck. So they would carry a knife around their neck. That was one of their symbols of warriordom. And he's carrying a hammer. Oh, he's got a tactical rock as well. I noticed.
Oh, yeah,
he does. James, I was about to say, James will be very, very happy.
He'll be shocked with that.
There's a particular chieftain called Kalian or Kotlian who was involved in the battles of Sitka in 1802 and 1804. And in the first battle, apparently he was the first to actually kill the blacksmith, a Russian blacksmith, and then took his hammer and used it as his personal weapon in all the years that followed.
So I think this amazing.
That's
probably convinced 5 people in the chat just straight there. that's 5 people gone straight there. Look at here we go. Look at these.
Lynn says History Dose is a great video on the Native Americans versus
Russians. Absolutely. I've tagged that on my website. That is brilliant. If you want to find out about the Tlingit, just go and find History Dose, Americans versus Russians. It's a 20-minute video with some great art in it, and it basically tells the story. It's fab. So, it was a massive pleasure to paint these up. And
James has gone in a very weird direction. I'm not sure we want.
He has, hasn't he?
He's got a thing. Like I've been talking to him about Crackcon, and he's got a thing about people dressing up. At this rate, I think everyone who's hosting a game is going to be dressed up.
I think the first time I met James, he was wearing a toga.
Yes. Well, that might. Yeah. That might not be very different from what he's wearing this time. There's a whole shot there of a lot of them.
Yeah, I've been gaming it for a few years now. There was originally a Russian range 5-6 years ago, which for obvious reasons is not particularly attainable at the moment. But I was so pleased when Eureka said they were doing this. So I've been using Rebels and Patriots to play some games, and it's been brilliant fun. Yeah, it's been great to get back into. So this is kind of my Midgard antidote. Kind of, it's got, you know, you play it on a 3x4. It's got guns in, and it's a very, very different vibe, really.
It would. It probably work quite well with muskets and tomahawks as well. Looking at the
I have played it with muskets and tomahawks. I did an article for Wargames Illustrated 5 years ago doing that. The problem with muskets and tomahawks is that muskets and tomahawks works on cards based on troop types, which means it works very well for the French and Indian War because you have your natives and your irregular rangers and your British redcoat regulars. So you have three troop types in it, your standard force or whatever. Whereas with this, you're not going to have that. The Russians effectively only will have two troop types. They'll have the irregulars, the Promishlniki, the third prospectors, and then they'll have their native allies fighting the native Tlingit. So unless you create a new card system, it's not quite right, if that makes sense. And so so the games, there's ways around it, but you're having to bend the system quite a bit because the cards are the core part of Muskets and Tomahawks. It's the core driver of the game. So you need some kind of different activation system. But actually, we've been playing a lot of Rebels and Patriots for French and Indian War, and we've absolutely loved that. So I've adapted that for this, basically, and all I needed to do was fiddle around with troop types a bit. We've had some very, very entertaining games with it. I'd love to do some more on that for myself. I'd like to play more of Gods and Mortals as well. That's a game I've not played for a year, which is really bad. I mean, seeing all this Warriors of Athena stuff coming out at the moment, that's one.
That's very tempting. That's very tempting at the minute. I do keep on seeing that floating around. I'm worried about Salute, where I'm going to be wandering around various stalls and say, "Oh, that would be good. Oh, look, that'll be I could just see that happening." So I'm going to try. I'm going to try and resist that one. I'm quite happy getting the stuffing kicked out of myself in Rangers of Shadow Deep, which is obviously the same Morpher, by rat, rather than getting chased off by a giant bee, which I think is one of the first.
Yeah. I mean, I'll probably go for the figures. Certainly, I love Greek mythology stuff, but I like to play large skirmishes and battles. Really, so of Gods and Mortals, where you've got 20 plus figures aside, scratches the itch better for me than that. And that that's such a clever game from Osprey that never really took off. But there's a whole group of us playing it here in Nottingham and in Leeds as well. We go there every so often for a visit to play our way through multiple games. It's a really clever piece of work. So I'd like to play more of that, definitely. I want to play more A Corsair as well. I've only played a couple of games so far and haven't really got into it properly. So I'd like to be able to spend a day or two doing that at some point.
It's a game I'd like to play. When it came out, because I got a lot of messages to people saying, are you going to play this? Seems like your alley. But I actually counted up. I did 8 different medieval rule sets last year, and I just got to the point where I was like, I don't want to do it. I will play it, but I needed a break. I needed a break. I had quite a lot. So obviously we had Pillage and Ruckus and Baron's War and Horrible Little Men and obviously Midgard. Everything else. I just want to have a slight break. It is something I'm going to sort of look at in the future. In fact, I even had a comment today with someone saying, you'll really like this. I was like, I know, which is why I deliberately avoided it at Warfares, because I know if I go near it and I play it, I'm going to buy it. so I'm just going to go the other way slightly.
Yeah. The constant refrain of our group is too many games, not enough time. And I think sometimes you need to pick something that you've played a few games, you like it, and run with it, one reason why kind of Midgard has worked within my group who do shows and whatever is the fact we don't need to change rule systems. That sounds lazy, but when we started doing Wars of the Roses, it was, shall we do bill hooks? And one of the guys said, actually, do you know, I think Midgard will do it absolutely fine. It means we don't have to learn a new set. And I thought, yeah. So it is, and it is one of the problems with it's not a problem. You know, we're in a golden age of gaming in so many ways.
Discipline.
Alex says, discipline, lads.
Yeah. I think at the beginning of last year, I said we were going to stick to just 1 or 2 rule systems, and that was going to be it. I think by the end of the second month of the year, we'd already done about 10 rule systems, so that didn't work at all. So
No. It's well, one of the questions that I wanted to ask you, James, when we got to is obviously you had your bit in War Games Illustrated with Alex, where you did the World War One game in the fort. So if we had, for the time, I was actually just going to ask you about that, because remember when you came on the stream, sorry, last time, obviously you shared your photos with us from your trip over to France, and a bit of the board, and then obviously that came around. So how was that playing that again? Because we were obviously talking about it on that stream, and then a few months later you were playing it, and obviously with Alex.
I'll answer Alex's question first. I think, Alex, if you came and ran the game, we could do it. That's I've got to concentrate a fair bit of showtime on Midgard. I'd like to take the Fort Vaux game out on the show circuit again at some point. World War One is definitely, alongside the other thing projects I just mentioned, it's an itch I definitely want to scratch in the near future, I guess. I did a battlefield tour in 2022 for my birthday, and we went around the village and stuff near the battle. We were researching and heard about the fighting there, and we came away going, we need to play that scenario using square bashing, and it just didn't happen for a number of reasons. It's just getting it all together. I'd like to scratch the world, but I've got a copy of 0 Hour. I've read it, not done anything with it. I kind of balancing mental load, I guess, I think is the best way to describe it. It's nice to have the rule books, but I can't do it all at once. But it's nice to have these projects there, because sometimes when you hit too much of the main thing that you're working on, you can go and pick it up. I know from a painting point of view, Dom's nodding here, he knows the story. If you just, you're going, if you're just sick of doing detailing on 28mm figures, if you do have a 10mm project in the cupboard where the stuff's already undercoated and you can just go and do that for a few evenings, that's really good. I think gaming's similar in that respect. I played a game of What a Cowboy at the weekend with Scribs, which was brilliant fun. He's got everything for it. I don't need to do anything. He's got a fantastic layout and the table, he knows the rules and so forth. And it was, it's a real treat to be able to do that. But he said to me, okay, let's go and play What a Cowboy. Can you collect half a village and a gang? That's going to take me a bit longer. The answer is probably no to that at the moment, I suppose. What I need to do is to book another day like I did with Alex, because that got the Verdun game back on the table. It would be nice to do that again with a different battle or something. I don't know. It's probably the way to, sometimes you just need to put something in your diary and go and do it.
Having a deadline makes a huge difference, doesn't it?
Yeah. To be fair, that's kind of what I've started doing a bit with games and also with channel as well, is actually just set aside a solid day where I can to just work on things, or to work on a game with someone, or just to even just chat with Robin about what we're gonna be doing next at, for example, Crackcon. So I think if people can do it. Somewhat, a stupid fat hobbit has just said Wargamer's motto, started making it, had a breakdown, bon appetit.
It's an interesting one though, isn't it? It's getting that balance right, because I think I definitely in the camp variety helps for me, certainly does. Painting wise, having different things to paint makes a huge difference. I'm doing the same thing over and over. I get bored. Even gaming, I think years ago, I can't believe I did it, but we used to play the same game system. We played different armies or what have you, but we played the same game system over and over for months and months and months on the track, and then we go away for a weekend, do a competition or a open day or something, and play it again there. And it was like, and it never seemed to lose its luster. nowadays I get bored after 2 or 3 weeks of playing the same rules and want to go and do something different. But then I want to go back to those rules. But then I wonder why I can't remember the rules anymore. So, or I get so confused. I mean, I only need a week off. I can't remember the rules. It's ridiculous.
I think with me, every time I put YouTube on, I normally end up with a new rulebook. Or I'll see something just posted in a Facebook group. I'm just awful for it. I've got no gaming willpower at all. I wanted. I mean, Don mentioned earlier when we first started doing this, I did bolt action. I was
just about to say. I remember somebody who used to play one system, paint in one color, and didn't ever differ from anything.
No, and you fast forward 6 years, and I'm engaged in so much weirdness. It's unbelievable.
That was the real state.
Yeah, the real state. I just think. I know people say that it's a golden age of gaming. And I think for access to rules and miniatures and community, it is. I mean, it's dangerous for your wallet and your bank account and your sanity at times. But I do enjoy it. I do. I buy rule books, I read them, I put them on the shelf, and I'll do that in a couple of years' time. I never get around to doing it. But yeah, joys of the hobby.
I do wonder whether it's, is it the fact that we've got so much available to us at the click of a button nowadays that, like you say, Steve, there is that temptation there every time you log on to YouTube or whatever. Is it that our attention span has got less as a result? Is it just that we're older? Is it just that, when you were 18 or whatever, you didn't, well, I don't know you, but I didn't have very much money, but you had more time than money. Yeah. So you'd be able to throw all your time at this. I don't know. I'm not sure. But
Tony makes wrong one. No, Tony makes an interesting point. He says, Don, back when rules were complicated, it took a brave person to change the rule system. That's a fair point, actually. It took you so long to learn the bloody rules, you weren't going to change them.
I've always thought that. I mean, on average, how long would you say you need to play or game a system before you've got a full grasp of the rules?
I've got 4 games in my head, maybe.
Yeah.
It does depend on the system, doesn't it? It really does. Some are very, very straightforward. You can play, 2 or 3 and only get 70% of the rules wrong. And then others, it's I don't know, it can be quite a few. But I think it's got to be 2. It's got to be 3 or 4. I think mostly to start to get most of it sorted out.
And does that differ from older rule sets, shall we say?
Very tactical.
I'm trying to say that in a really polite way.
I can't remember that far back.
One of our Midgard, we've got we've got the Midgard Heroic Battles group. We've got a Midgard moderators group as well, because there's about 7 or 8 of us moderating it. And one of our admins posted some pages this week of a 1977 ancient set of rules, and our eyes were just bleeding looking at it. I'm not sure anybody would ever master that in decades. I'm not sure.
I think the tolerance for that for most gamers nowadays of that kind of rule system, I just don't think people would actually stand for it anymore. It's just too complicated. That said, there are some bloody complicated systems out there, and I see some people playing them down at our club sometimes, and I think, wow, really? I don't know how you remember. Yeah, John's right. How about Newbury fast play rules? Yeah, they weren't fast. That's for damn sure they weren't.
I'll have a look, John. I don't know. I'm not sure what it was. I'm not sure I should name the name on the stream anyway, in case the author's listening, because I know what it's like.
Each their own. Yeah. Oh, Tony says that's the beauty of Midgard. A couple of games and you've got the core in the head. Yeah.
I mean, that's one of the things. It was very nice on Little Wars TV. When Brad's. They did a Bosworth battle report a few weeks back as well, and Brad, the guy who'd picked Midgard to run that, said basically you by in a couple of turns, the other players are teaching each other. Oh, Bosworth, yeah. This is not Little Wars. I mean, Little Wars has got an amazing group.
I clicked the wrong
No,
one.
it's fine. No, yeah, don't worry. That's theirs. Yeah, that video was very popular. So interestingly, we were kind of running Bosworth concurrently, unknown to each other. So I got asked by Tamworth Wargames Club to go and pay them a visit. They run an event at Tamworth Castle every few months, and literally they game in the Great Hall, and it is absolutely bloody amazing. Anyway, Rob, the guy who organises it, he's a Midgard player. He said, "Can you run Bosworth?" Okay, and that got me going off and writing a Bosworth scenario and painting Good King Richard and stuff you can see there. And then we had a brilliant time playing that there. But at the same time, Little Wars TV, well, Brad Shave, the guy in the US, had put together this huge Bosworth game, which he was running at shows in the US. And then he was invited over to Little Wars TV to run the game. So they then did a video, which is at a stupid number of views, which is that one there. They also did a nice job of explaining some of the key mechanisms in there. And, Little Wars TV are great at this. So it was a fantastic advert for the rules, and really interesting to see how the two of us approached designing the Bosworth scenario on different sides of the Atlantic, as it were. But yeah,
that's brilliant. Yeah, love that. Really cool.
Awesome.
Is a quick look at some of the questions we had in. Oh no, I think we've done that one on the video series. Oh, Paul said there's a book due out later this year covering Edward I's campaign in France, which was overshadowed by the Welsh and Scottish War.
Oh,
interesting.
Is that
yeah?
Oh God, is that David? Is it David Pilling? David Pilling's book. He did the one about the Monteforians and the guerrilla war, which I keep meaning to do something with. Again, because they go to Ely and hold up on Ely, and they set fire to the fence. I'd just like to point out. So,
okay, yeah, we should have a look at that definitely. And there was a guy on the Midgard group today who said they'd watched Little War stuff. They bought the rules, and we're going to get into it. And they wanted to run the second day of Bannockburn as a multiplayer game, and that got me thinking.
Right.
Going, yeah, Chiltrons, which rules will I use for that, and so forth. So yeah. We've got army lists coming up in the Baron's War supplement for the 1260s. I'll have to see how far I can extend that or what it requires to go beyond. It's quite a changing period of history, though. That it's because obviously Edward the First is the guy who goes, "Hey, these guys with longbows, let's get lots of them together and see what happens."
Yes.
Is he the man to blame for the fall of the Mounted Knights? Who knows? Yeah.
With your Midgard stuff, is there kind of have you, because I know you did so much play testing and everything else, so I presume you haven't had to do an awful lot of sort of FAQs or corrections or changes, or is the contact with the player base making you rethink some of the rules a bit? Is there anything you kind of want to tweak at some point?
Good question. I'm extremely proud that the errata in Midgard is on one A4 page, and it's not in 6-point font either. It shows my rule book with it's crossed out where it was misprinted and missed. Let me see. Yeah, the errata is very small, and that's on the Facebook group. It's also on my website, mogsiemakes.net, on the Midgard page. I try to make sure that everything I produce officially for download goes on there, so that, because many people don't use Facebook. I know for our age group it's pretty common, but you get less than 40, like Martin, and it's not a common thing to be on Facebook. So there's a few rules we're working through at the moment. Portraying undead armies is one thing that we're playtesting this week. One of the traits, relentless, it's had mixed feedback, and we have there are ideas percolating for a Terror of the Lich Master style campaign, and it'd be quite fun to do some undead traits in a bit more detail. So that's what I'm looking at the moment. Again, I mean, it kind of comes, but there's nothing in the core book I look at something, I might do that differently nowadays, but it's there. But yeah, there's not we do answer some questions on the group. There is a question currently circulating: can Light Horse do a 180-degree turn and then charge? That's what I need to produce a little video for. But yeah, that's it's not. Yeah, what I'm pleased about is that because the book had such a thorough going through and had such a long gestation period, that actually played in our favour, because hundreds of people looked at it before it went to print. So, and also having me and Rich Clark on it, Rich was brilliant to work with to bounce things backwards and forwards. He picked up stuff that we wouldn't have got if it was just me and my mates or whatever, So that was, a great process. And actually, because we didn't have an exact release date, I think, as Richard often says, we often talk about this, is one of the problems you have working for a company that is producing rules that will push miniatures, is your rules have to be ready for the miniatures release.
Yeah.
And, that can result in stuff being rushed, or them not having an index, things like that. Whereas one great thing about writing for Ricewicks Press is you're free of that pressure. The only pressure is to produce a good game. So that was actually a real benefit, I think, when we're up to doing that. There's still, like I say, if I went back, I'd change a couple of small things, but no, I'm happy with what's there. And what's lovely to see on the Facebook group at the moment, as I said, it's already a really positive atmosphere, but I don't need to answer very many rules queries. I do if I'm online at that point in time, but very often knowledgeable players and playtesters will jump in and point people to the page number.
That's got to be helpful.
So
that's brilliant. That's brilliant. Okay, we're rapidly heading towards the end. We can't afford any overtime bills this month, so let's take 5 seconds to look at some of the pictures from the Facebook page. We like to feature some of the stuff there. Reminder, if you're not on the Facebook page, why not? Links down below. Just go there and you have to answer just 3 simple questions, just to stop the, Steve loves seeing the spammers and all the people selling sculpting services and everything else on there. But I try and stop them, so that's what that's.
Can we introduce a sound effect of like a rattling tin when they when they try and get in?
I don't know. Brilliant. But yes, so a couple of things that people have been showing up there. There's always such an amazing amount of work up there, and some really, really good projects.
Variety as well.
Yes, yeah.
Oh, the variety is phenomenal. So I'm going to start with Christopher. Now, this is this is amazing. These are piano miniatures, I think. Now, he was saying that one of his buddies has got into silver bayonets, and he's been playing a lot of silver bayonets, and he realised he wanted his own band to go into silver bayonets, so he got hold of all these piano miniatures and did them for that. So they're just brilliant.
Yeah. Well, just wow. Yeah, I agree. I agree with the comments. Just wow.
Wow. That's all I can
fantastic.
Say. Tim, Broken Dice channel, if you get a chance to see his stuff. This was one of his big battles. He got inspired by getting his pikes against Romans, which is always a good battle, I think. I just love seeing big battles of figures. Just awesome. Just awesome. So check out Broken Dice if you haven't already done. Paul had a game of What a Cowboy. He had a whole series of pictures of the game he had going. The train for this is fantastic. Just really,
this is Scribs. This is the one I played in. Yeah. Absolutely beautiful.
Wonderful looking game. Really, really cool. Have we got Kevin? These are his Varangians for one of his war bands.
Excellent.
They look like Victrix, aren't they? I think they are Victrix.
I think they are, yeah.
Yeah, I think they look
Really,
like
really
Victrix.
cool. Paul was showing off enormous ACW epic game that he was playing. Just loads and loads of shots of this battle. Fantastic. The units are brilliant. I thought, shall I show a little? We only show one picture because otherwise it fills up too much. But I wanted to show the individual units, but go and check those out because they were extraordinary. Really, really good.
That looks so nice. It really does.
Amazing. Just love it. This one for you, Steve. Jonathan. So this was inspired by you, apparently. He said he felt he had to do this.
You're to blame.
Yeah, you're to blame.
Brilliant. I am.
Yeah, really. I don't know what it is, but it does look interesting. Talking about that, look at these. This is Craig's Samurais. He had a whole series of his Samurai Lords there. Absolutely beautiful.
That's a helmet and a half.
It's not something I thought I'd hear, but okay.
No.
Then Nick was showing off one of his. This was one of his English Civil War battles. I forget which one it was now, but he was again showing a whole series of battle scenes from this. Absolutely amazing. I just love seeing big battles. I'm not afraid to say it. I love it.
You're right there, Dom. You get a bit overwhelmed by all the large battles.
I am. I told you I had a bit of a fuggle on the whole gaming bit, and I'm suddenly into it in a real big way again. Yeah. This is for you, Steve, because I know how you love the white and the drummers. So there you go. That's Ashley's. I mean, beautiful work.
That gives me chest. That gives me chest pains.
We talked a lot about Baron Wars, so this was Tony was showing off one of his battles using Baron Wars. And,
excellent,
just great. He said that was inspired by Martin and me. I'm not sure how our
nothing on fire
game did, but there you go. There's no fire involved, so it can't be Martin. And then finally, I'm going to show. We have battles. We have conventions, we have individual painting projects, different creations that people make out their bits and bobs like Steve, and then we have dioramas like that. That's Gary's work. I mean, look at that.
Wow, lovely.
That really is lovely.
Fantastic. Really, really cool. So there you go, just a selection of the stuff out there on the on Facebook page, and a reminder, if you haven't already done so, please join it. That's it. We are over time. Thank you everybody for watching. Thank you, James, for joining us. Really appreciate it.
Yes, thank you so much.
Thank you, James.
Really good to hear the update on Midgard and all the campaign stuff coming. So watch this space. James will put it up on the Facebook page when the campaign book is available for pre-order, or if you're following the Lardy's sites and their various social media stuff, then I'm sure Rich will put that up as soon as it's available. And as you heard here, you'll be able to put the pre-order in and pick it up at Salute if you're going to Salute. So awesome beans. If you can hit the like and subscribe and do all that YouTubey stuff, I know Steve loves all that. And next week we'll be on.
We're with me.
Yeah,
we're with me next week because you're abandoning us.
I'm off to Adepticon, so yeah.
Hopefully they'll keep you. But Dave will, but we're not going to be alone. So Steve and I are going to be joined by Charlie from Wargames Atlantic. So we're going to be chatting to Charlie about Wargames Atlantic, what they've got coming, because they've got, I think they've got a fairly big presence at Salute. So we're going to have a chat with them about what's coming. So yeah, that'll be over on my channel. So yeah, come and join us.
Awesome. Well, thank you everybody, and thank you once again, James. Really appreciate it. And we'll see you in about another year then. We keep running on this sort of cycle. Look forward to seeing you at
Crackcon.
Well, we'll see you at Crackcon, but if not any other shows that we're at, and look forward to seeing the campaign system. Thank you once again, everybody. We will see you all again. Well, I won't see you next week. Well, some of you might do, but the rest of us will see you next week. And I've lost the video. Where's it gone?
It's not.
Where's it gone? Oh God, my scroller's not working. I can't do it. All right, well, we'll just check out. So thanks very much for watching. We'll see you again soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.
Oh, it's gone. Oh.